Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Helt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This week, my guest is Mark Murphy, and Mark is the founder and CEO of Northeast Private Client Group. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Gary. I'm happy to be here.
Mark, give me some of your background. Tell me what did Mark do before he founded Northeast Private Group?
The company we started our 39th year on November 1st. Before that, I was at the Kelley Business School at Indiana University, and my experience was as a bouncer and had a handful of pretty good internships during the day. And came right off the campus and got an opportunity here. And a year or so later, I left and founded Northeast Private Client Group. And as they say, it's just been a magical ride that just keeps continuing, because I think there's no finish lines in life. There's only milestones.
Right.
And we just keep rolling.
So what made you want to start up your own business and get out there on your own?
I think that I always thought we would be successful. I always thought we would make money, but that wasn't the priority. This really became my vehicle to make other people's lives better. I think you always have to know yourself, and I'm always at my best when I'm serving others. And I thought that this was a great vehicle to help make other people's lives better. And it just took off from there. I'd love to say there was a master plan, and I planned it in a direct line from A to B. And Gary, as somebody who's advised people for decades, that would be a lie. But we just kept taking, hopefully, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
And Mark, what makes you and Northeast Private Client Group different than other advisors?
My issue is that I think that the void in the marketplace was a few things. I could go on with this for a long time, but I always thought that money market CDs, IRAs, 401ks, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, blah, blah, blah. Most of our clients had some or all those assets. And they'd probably have them for their entire life. But at best, they were an inflation-adjusted holding tank. If Bill Gates was on the call with us today, he wouldn't say he's worth $110 billion because of his 401k or his mutual funds. True wealth is created investing in your business or some other operating company. It's investing in real estate. It's financing deals. I'll leave out divorce and inheritance. And so even though I don't manage money in the millions, we manage money in the billions. I just kept seeing, all of these advisors from various financial firms saying, if you just buy our financial services products, you're going to be worth 42 gazillion, gagillion dollars. And nobody was creating that kind of wealth. And more importantly, not only in addition to the wealth, they weren't creating a life by design. They weren't creating a life that had both health and wealth and love and purpose, and were not being successful in every area of their life. So I thought, wow, they're not creating the wealth they should create. They're not creating the kind of lives they wanted to create. We can do better and come up with a strategy that makes things different. And I think it starts with helping people create an entrepreneurial mindset. And that means not only being a business owner, but if you're not a business owner, it's a mindset. It has nothing to do with owning a business.
Now, what you're talking about, what advisors aren't doing and things like that, what are some of the mistakes that you see individuals making?
I see people making decisions. I'm a master's bridge player. So I think 8 moves are 13 tricks ahead.
Okay.
And the idea is that I think, as an example, a lot of people are making financial decisions and not look at the end game, meaning one of my favorite presentations I've ever made, probably this will be my new favorite interaction with somebody.
There you go.
But, I'd say about 20 with you. But I would say 25 years ago or so, I got a chance to present in front of the financial planning department at a big 4 accounting firm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I sat down with them and I said, do you guys do financial planning? And they go, do we do financial planning? We're the best in the world. They were like Tarzan beating their chest about how amazing they were. And so then I said to them, I was at the front of the room and I said, I have a 35-year-old business owner. Tell me some of the things you'll do for this type of person. And I wrote, and then I said, I've got a 50-year-old business owner. What are some of the things you would recommend for this type of person? Or I wrote, they're screaming things. They're throwing napkins at each other. It's like a trading floor on Wall Street.
Right.
I then go, I've got a 65-year-old business owner, and then I've got an 85-year-old. So I'm writing. So I did this for about 30 or 45 minutes. And then I took a look back at the board and I said, I forgot to tell you guys something. This is the same person. The 35-year-old became the 50-year-old, became the 65-year-old, become the 85-year-old. It seems to me that most of the problems that you solved at 65 and 85, you created at 35 and 50. And so ultimately, and I think it's more of how you get people to think about things. Like as an example, when somebody says to me, payroll is my biggest expense, that goes through me nails on a chalkboard, because if it's an expense, let's fire everybody. We realize you don't grow a business, you grow people. So you need to invest in people and grow them, as an example. And it just became clear to me that for somebody who manages billions of dollars, there's dozens of asset classes. But for our purposes, I say there's either investments or there's expenses. If it's an expense, it should be on the chopping block. And if it's an investment, I think you should have an unlimited appetite for investment, as long as you can get at least a 4 or 5 to 1 return on your money or more.
Right. I think that's a great way to look at it because, again, I think in my world, at least, the people that work with me and for me, they're my biggest asset. And if they're not producing or they're creating more drag than they are producing, then you're right. You need to get rid of them, get somebody else in there to invest in. But I think so many business owners don't look at this in that way. They look at it, oh, this is a necessary expense or a necessary item that I have to have, blah, blah, blah. But I think I like the way that you look at it and that you're looking at it that, okay, it's an investment or expense. You got to get rid of that expense. It's decluttering your life in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think most people who own a business think they're entrepreneurs, but for the overwhelming majority of them, they bought themselves a job. Right. They're getting paid for what they do, not what they know. And I think there's a few rules that you have to have around money. One is your money has to work while you sleep. Yep. And your business has to produce revenue without you physically doing it.
Right. You've written
I think that's the definition.
Yeah. You've written some books. And one of the things that caught my eye was that you talk about a paycheck versus a playcheck. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, we've trademarked. In fact, we wrote our third book last year. Was the number one bestseller on Amazon in 2023. And so we're very proud of that book that came out. But since then, we've trademarked our pyramid to multi-generational wealth. And so to me, it starts with, at the bottom of the pyramid, it starts with cash confidence. One of the reasons that I think that businesses do fail or they do not succeed as big as they should is because if you have a bad quarter, even a bad year, you have to have the cash confidence and the money to withstand that kind of little downturn so that you can get to a better time. So for emergencies. The other things, I don't know about you, Gary, but I've made a lot of my wealth when I had cash and other people needed cash. So either for opportunities or emergencies, you got to start with cash confidence, and that we want our clients to have cash confidence. The second level of the pyramid is if you are a business owner or if you are the business, meaning it's your skill set or the enterprise. If you only have $1 to invest, I want to feed your money machine. If I only have $1 to invest and I own a business, I want to look to my business first before I look anywhere else. Or if I'm the product, can I go get that degree or that education or that skill set or work on something to invest in me to make me a more valuable commodity in the marketplace? So that's feeding your money machine. And then you get to, as you said, there's dozens of asset classes. Now my second group of 2 asset classes is we call them paychecks or either free capital or playchecks. And so what we want our clients to do is set up a series of assets that will give them either a guaranteed or a highly reliable stream of income to replace their income. I'll call those paychecks. And then we want another series of assets where you can spend it, you can save it, you can give it away. But the important thing is that will not be responsible for producing income for their family. So if they have both paychecks and playchecks, that's financial freedom. But there's still one more level. And I think nobody better than you to understand that is if you can have earned income in your 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s. Most of your friends are going to early bird specials or worried about living too long or shopping at the discount store rather than the department store. You are a net saver at that period of time. And that's how you can create multi-generational wealth. I see so many people that say, hey, I'm 60 years old. I'm 65 years old. I've got to sell my business, pay a bunch of taxes, and then come to somebody like me saying, hey, I need to now replace this income where the asset of the business is worth far more than the after-tax money you get from the business. And that's the pyramid.
Yeah, I think that to me, everything that you're talking about goes back to that planning and start planning early because like you said, there's milestones, there's not the finish line. And really the finish line, you can't do anything after that anyway. Hitting these milestones as you're going and planning. And if you do that plan, then if something gets in your way before you get to that milestone, if you have the plan, you can adjust the plan. I always try to tell people that the important piece is having the plan, working the plan. But if you don't have a plan, when something does come up, what are you going to do? You're going to be very reactionary. And anytime, and Mark, you could talk on this, that anytime that you're acting in a reactionary state, you make mistakes.
Yeah. It's so funny when you have great advisors like you in your life, if you're a business owner, you're not reactionary, you're anticipating these things that can occur. And I think so many things that happen to people that are sad or tragic, or even not sad or tragic, but just don't reach full fruition. They're easily anticipated.
Right.
And people are like caught flat-footed. Oh, I'm never going to get divorced. I'm never going to get sued. Nobody's ever going to leave me. I'm not like, oh my God, I can't believe this has happened. And I think that with proper advice and proper planning, you not only can anticipate and be prepared for those things, but you can also use them to your advantage. Remember, I'm not saying if something bad happens to you, you could ignore it or have rose-colored glasses or be Pollyannish. If you got a problem, you've got to deal with it at that level or it won't go away or it'll just keep coming back. But I think what a great entrepreneur does is their mind goes immediately to what's great about that. And how can we take this opportunity, this misfortune, and turn this problem into an opportunity? And that's what we try to teach people to do.
How often, are you getting with your clients, meeting with them, getting them to review what's going on?
Actually, Gary, that's one of my favorite things. The very last question with a new client that I will ask after we've agreed, everything's gone, they go, hey, we're coming on board. We'd like to be your client. The very last question I say to them is this. I say to them, the way we service people, we call it our Goldilocks approach. We want the porridge to be not too hot, not too cold, just right. And so we try to have some agreement in terms of how often, assuming there's things going on, we might talk or meet 10 times a day in a week. But assuming there's nothing remarkable going on, we see a few of our largest clients like once a year, but we see an awful lot of our clients, we speak to them almost every week. And so it's not based on, it's based on what's going on in their life, but it's more importantly, it's what they want. And so the idea is that some people want to meet quarterly, some people want to meet monthly, some people want to, and that's the beauty of computers. If you're our client, Gary, and you say, we'd like to have a monthly meeting and I need it by Zoom or I need it face-to-face, or we'll get it scheduled. And if you say to me, that's too little or too much, that's fine. And then I think in between, I think that the other thing that I think you need to do is that I think that people are looking for three things from their advisors, whether it be their key, I consider myself like yourself, a key business strategist, critical thinker, financial advisor, or their CPA, or whoever their advisors are. And I think they're looking for three things. I think they're looking for some direction in that there's a clear path along the journey. I think the second thing they're looking for is some creativity. Some of it's simple, some of it's sophisticated, but it's got to be mom and apple pie stuff. Nothing under the table, everything above the table. Meaning a tax attorney and somebody from the IRS and the editor of the Wall Street Journal should be able to be at that meeting and say the strategy would work. Nothing tawdry.
Yeah.
But I think the third thing to me is that's almost just as important is companionship. In there, they're looking for somebody to be there every step along the way on the journey. And I think there's so many folks that they're on to the next. And so they onboard clients, but they don't really bring their client to fruition because they're really not committed to getting them and doing the hard work to getting them the life that they want.
Yeah. I always equate that to somebody being transactional versus building a relationship. And I think that's important to be able to build that relationship with the clients, because that's, from my side, I get satisfaction out of being able to see them grow and be able to say that, hey, look, I was part of this. I written a book, and one of the books I wrote was The Right Team, The Right Plan. And that's all just, and you're talking about the same thing, making sure that you're surrounding yourself with the professionals that are going to help you build your plan and help you be able to make that plan to come to fruition. Mark, what's your ideal client?
It's obviously everybody to have more interesting, larger clients, that sort of stuff. But I would say it more, one of the things I did, Gary, about, I'm a slow learner. So I did this about, I don't know, maybe I lose track of time, maybe 10 years ago. And I literally tried to take a look at our top 50 clients. And I tried to look at commonality of things because, quite frankly, I wanted to clone our very best clients.
Sure.
And I started to notice some themes. I started to notice that most of the time they were big thinkers. I noticed that they were very loyal. I noticed that they appreciated our expertise. I noticed that they were not interested in, as you mentioned, transactional relationships. They were interested in transformational relationships. There's probably a couple of other adjectives I'd throw that was a common theme of those folks. And I thought about that for a couple of years, and we were looking for those types of clients. And then I realized that's who we were as an organization, that you attract the people who are much like yourself, who have the same core values that you do, who have the same place. Like one of my pet peeves is Woody. I've met Woody Allen a number of times, and Woody has a great line where he says, 90% of life is showing up. I don't care if you're the best financial advisor, accountant, lawyer, doctor in the world. If I can't get you on the phone or it takes you 4 weeks to call me back, how good are you? So I've always made it our mission that I am psychotic about returning texts, emails, phone calls immediately. And I figure if you wanted to talk to me tomorrow, you'd call me tomorrow. If you want to talk to me today, you could. If you want to talk to me today, you talk to me today. And so I think what ideal clients is, and I think the other thing too is you just want to work with good people. You want to work with people. I think I've gotten to a stage in my career that it's certainly not about money anymore. It's about just enjoying the people you're with. One of the 5 freedoms is freedom of relationship. And I think at this point in my life, the freedom of relationship is to work with good people who want to be helped, who want to make it, I personally love myself at this point. I'd love to positively impact the lives of 100 million people.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can tell you is that it's a daunting task because I'm only one person and I don't think I can do it by myself. But indirectly, with the help of others, maybe we can make the world just a little better place. And maybe when you and I leave the planet, the world will be just a little bit better than we got it when we inherited.
Right.
And I just think you just want to work with that, create a community and work with people that believe there's a better place, not only for them, but for their kids and grandkids.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's some good words there, because I think that's something, if everybody were to do that, then we would, our world and our society would be a hell of a lot better off than we are right now. Tell me, from a mentorship and professional development, give me one key nugget of something that somebody taught you back when during this time that you wish you knew when you first started out.
First of all, I think that one of the things I think that this current generation is missing, and I don't want to be, I don't want to turn into the old man who's yelling at the kids on the front yard, but I think that this work-life balance, which I believe in, I don't believe in work-life balance. What I believe in is having a great life, meaning that you shouldn't have a business life and a personal life. You should have a life by design to continue to go from one thing you like to something you like more to something you like more than that. But I think particularly this generation is, I think particularly early on, until you can figure it out, there's no substitute for not getting outworked. And I think that ultimately, I think if people want all the glory and all the money and all the rewards, but they want to work 4 days a week and 2 of them from home and work 9 to 5 with a 2-hour lunch, I just don't think it works. If you want to be okay or adequate, or you want to be good, maybe you can get there. If you want to be excellent, that doesn't work. And if you want to be elite, don't even talk to me about that. But I do believe, that to be elite, you have to be obsessed at some point for some period of time. And then the plan is to get things in balance, because I don't believe you have to give up. When you talk about health, wealth, love, and purpose, you can have all 4. You don't need to give up one to have the other.
Yeah. So we covered a lot of stuff, and I could certainly sit here and talk to you for a while, because I definitely like what you're saying. What have I not asked you wish I had?
I just think that ultimately that I think, as you know better than anyone, the good ones ask, the great ones tell. And so when you talk in a plan, what you want to do is you want to create not a financial plan in my world. You want to help people create a strategy, and a strategy that'll work under any circumstance. And the thing I also think that you want to do is, Gary, you and I could give a client a plan, and then they have the ability to accept or reject that plan.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how I think we should do it. I think what you want to do is you want to create a plan that they're part of, because only an insane person rejects a plan that they created. Remember, our clients are not hiring us to have the Mark Murphy plan or the Gary Hype plan. They're hiring us to have the plan that works for them and their family and their business. And so we want to create their plan, not our plan. And all I can tell you is that I think what I would in their life. Most of them get a gallon of Haagen-Dazs and a blanket and crawl up under the covers, and we never hear from them again. And I think that what we try to teach our folks to do is to realize that failure is just another form of market research, that failure is just one step closer to success. And that had you not done a few of those things, you either have success or learning. And if you had not done a few of those things that have failed, you wouldn't have done other things that gave you abundance and tremendous amounts of success. And so remember, I leave by saying that in life, it's all BS. And by BS, it's all about belief systems. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is that ultimately, I think when you have the right values around people, when you have the right values around money, when you have the right values around everything starts to change.
Right.
And that's how you can create multi-generational. That's how you can have the life you want. And that's how the right people start showing up in your personal life or your business life. Or it's amazing how just a subtle shift in the way you think and the way you behave can change the fortunes of not only you, but your family for generations to come.
There's some good words, Mark. I really appreciate it. Really
Thank you.
Appreciate your time today. I think that what you've done and what you've said today, I think will resonate with a lot of people. That's for sure.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. So this week, my guest was Mark Murphy, who's the founder and CEO of Northeast Private Client Group. I will see you guys next week.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.